Hey guys, it's Nick, and this is a chess match I have against KJG7777. There's actually going to be two matches in today's thing, so I'm going to go try and quick. Both against the same guy. One is me as white, one is me as black. Um, Here I'm just using my traditional opening. We end up in the variation of a four knights game. He does this thing everyone always does. It's like a Roy Lopez or something. So I bring out my bishop, and he trades his light square bishop for one of my knights. I have some blunders in this game. Here he's just going to push his pawn forward, I castle. He takes, I take back. Now he threatens my other knight, and I'm like, really? I check him here just to stop him from castling, and it also defends my knight there, so that was my thought process. He's just going to block with his queen. I decide to just trade queens here because it removes his pressure from the center of the board if he takes back with his queen instead of the knight, and that undefended pawn is now safe. As well, if he takes my queen with his king, he loses the ability to castle, so either way I was pretty happy. So I would trade queens. Here, since I moved my queen, I use my bishop to defend that knight. He takes, I take back, so it's two bishops and two knights. He's going to castle. I'm just going to attack his knight. He's going to pretty much line up with me. Here, this like pressure situation gets very interesting between the two of us, where he doesn't have a lot of good options here. So he decides he's going to offer up a trade. One of his knights for my light square bishop, basically. I accept, and then capture a pawn as well from the material in exchange. And now here he can't move his knight because then I'll take his rook, and then it'll be two rooks on one with me as a pawn in the endgame, with an additional pawn in the endgame. So he pushes a pawn to threaten my rook. I just decide to take his knight here because he was threatening me with his pawn, and even if he takes me back, I can take his rook, gain material, and then he's still exposed. So he does take back, I take here, and then I move over to defend my bishop. He attacks my bishop with his king, I retreat. This is another play. I don't know if he saw this, but when I move my bishop back, I make sure it's now defending that rook, and that lets me trade rooks. So we go into the end game. I have a pawn and a bishop, and so here we go. We're both just kind of moving pawns. He gets his king involved. Unfortunately, my king's kind of trapped, so I have to work with my bishop. Here, I'm push pawn forward. I don't know. This is like one of the very few times I've been in a very close endgame that's came down to the pawns, so I don't know how it's supposed to work out. But here I'm just kind of going with what I think's the best idea. He pushes a pawn. I check his king. He takes. I take the opposite side. Now I know I have a passed pawn over there with my three guys. He's going to try and use his king to defend those two. I'm going to start marching my guys down. There I push the pawn to threaten his king away from the one on the right and force him to only take one of the pawns. Now my bishop is basically free to hold that pawn there because I would gladly trade. If he takes with his king, I can, just take the pawn. It's not going to be a problem. Here he takes, I take back, so now I have a passed pawn pretty much. He moves his king, and now here he doesn't really have a way to get his king in a good position because I guess he can go to this square, which is e3. Then I'm going to move my bishop here. In response, maybe he goes here in front of his pawn, or just down. I don't know, but you'll find that I push my pawn, and then he does move his king there. But now that, since it was my move, I now won the race, have my queen. He comes, of course, here I'm just going to take the pawn, prevent him from getting a queen. He pretty much has to trade. I check him. Check again, and then at this point he resigned, realizing that he really didn't have a chance, because I had this passed pawn over here as well as a queen, and everything else was pretty much the same. So I'm moving to the second game between us. This game you'll see I'm playing as black, and here we go the same, similar opening for the two of us, except for he has a king's pawn opening, d4. I used queen's pawn in the last game. So here, since he moves to defend with his knight initially, I'm going to add some pressure by attacking and then defend. So here's very similar. Actually, I think the exact same, except for queens versus king's pawn. So expect the queen-king positions. This looks exactly the same to me. Here I threatened into the center of the board. And, sorry, I was going a little bit fast there. So I decided to take the pawn, knowing that if he takes back with a knight, I can take with my queen, then I have great position, and also have extra protection on my other knight, as well as him attacking his bishop. So that was just a big bonus for me there. He, of course, is going to take my knight, and I'm going to capture back with a pawn, because that's the only thing I had. I really didn't want to mess up my pawn structure at this point, but I had to. So here he takes back with his knight, because that pawn is undefended. I guess I'm used to playing the queen's pawn opening as white, and then normally your queen is defending that pawn still. Obviously in this case I'm black, and that's my king's pawn, so it doesn't work out. So I'm just going to develop my bishop, knowing that if he tries to take this pawn here, I can retake with my king, which I wouldn't want to do, but I can then pseudo-castle if I have to. So here he just takes the pawn to the right, threatening my queen. I bring my queen out. I went to this square because I was kind of like attacking this bishop more. Here this knight is now completely undefended, and I don't think I picked up on that at this point, so I do believe he's going to take that. So I actually played fairly poorly throughout this entire game. Yes, he just takes that, and now I'm going to check his king as well as threaten this knight again. He blocks with his queen. I can't afford to well, I guess I could have done just taken his queen there, traded, but I decided not to, and this actually is a horrible move for me. I just did not see that his knight had my queen here. I didn't see it here either, which was huge, and because I didn't see it here, I just assumed since he did this, I certainly did not know he could take my queen. So I castle, and now he takes my queen. He's up a lot of material, and I'm just screwed at this point. But I don't like resigning games. Sometimes if maybe they'll make a blunder, I might be able to fight back. So from here, I'm gonna threaten his knight and gain some leverage on his queen. He's gonna start protecting his knights in the center of the board. I move here because it locks down. I have a firm diagonal there because he has nothing attacking it, and that way I can kind of check his queen's movement a little bit. I probably should, well, you'll see what ends up happening. Yeah, I attack his knight with my pawn. He's just going to push another pawn up, getting a real nice formation. At this point, I really don't think I can win. I'm just going to, try and get as much material back as I can, which is what I was doing there. Now I'm going to attack his knight again, and here I decide, trade the dark square bishops. It does help him some, because it gives him more material advantage just relatively. But now his rook is kind of trapped up up with those two pawns and has to move at least once before it can really impact the game at all, as well as getting that off the board. And then so here I'm just going to take his knight. He recaptures, and you'll notice now he has doubled pawns, and that's not going to come into play too much. But so now I have a free pawn there, and he on this move I wanted to take over this. I'm thinking. Let's see this rank now file. Well, I wanted to move my rook here, so obviously he of course is going to block me from doing that. That way I could just have a much better attacking presence and actually have some hope of doing something. But I can't, so I'm going to move my rook up to gain control over that rank there, the third rank, and because I already have my other rook on the back line, so I don't have to worry about any shenanigans or anything. He's just going to push a pawn. Now his rook is open, is involved in the game. So I'm going to threaten that pawn. He's going to push. I'm going to push here. The reason I do this is because doubling his pawns on the outside file makes them really weak. I know it's going to make it very hard for him to promote. And if he takes here, I do have my rook that's lined up with that pawn. So I can just swing over, slam it. And he does, so I take. He takes with his queen. You realize this is another play. I just didn't notice this when I should have probably just moved this rook back into 8A. I played really hard this whole game, and I just bring it over, and but I don't. I take. He takes with his queen. So now I have basically no hope. He has his queen, 2 rooks against me, 1 rook, 1 bishop. Plus he has 3 extra pawns. So here I'm going to check his king. Maybe something will come of it. Pressure is always good. I try and trade rooks just to get something back, and then now we're going to start a pawn march, and his queen just gets in the best position here, where between this queen and that pawn I can't do anything. So I'm trying to get in a position where I can attack that diagonal, so that way the pawn can't develop. But he works this to where now his king is attacking my bishop, and I can't take this pawn because of the rook. I can't go anywhere in here because of his queen and his pawn. So I'm forced to, in order to maintain my bishop, which is basically my only piece of material remaining, to retreat. Of course, he attacks the pawn. I'm going to take, he's going to take, and now I'm going to come down, threaten the pawn. Obviously he's just going to move it, so I have no threats here. So now he has 2 queens, and I'm like, great, at this point I'm like 90% sure I've lost. I don't believe there's any hope. And here I kind of just did unintentionally trapping myself, and I didn't realize what I was doing. So I moved my bishop up to try and give my king some time, consolidate my pieces, maybe force him to make some more moves. Here he checks me, forces me. I block, and this is instrumental, huge move here. So this block, instead of moving my king up, where I would just be I think. Yeah, if I just move my king either here or here, I feel like the game's over pretty quickly, because he can bring his queen down. If I go there, check me again. All my very few options at that point. Bring his other queen over. It gets really bad really quick. So I decide to block with my bishop. He brings his queen here, and this I know if I can't move my bishop, so I have to move my king. And I know if I go here, it's game over. I can't go here. If I go here, it's pretty much game over. No, it will be because he'll take, I'll be in check, I'll be forced to move. I have to go here, and then he moves down one more, and that's checkmate. So I can't go here. So I decide to make one of the two moves I can make, and I go here. Now he does not realize this, but he takes, and this actually is a stalemate. So I managed to force a draw after being horribly down and playing horribly. So I wanted to upload this just to show I don't always upload just wins, and also this was a really rough match for me, and I managed, fight through your games if you can. I mean, maybe your opponent will blunder. I mean, he's only been rated around 900. I mean, I realize I'm much lower, but you gotta, if you don't fight through them, you'll never win. You'll never end up getting lucky or seeing something like this. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this kind of like double feature. It's two games. One is white, one is black. They play out kind of similarly. I play good in one, horrible in another, and I kind of make the best of both situations. So have a good day. Thanks for watching.